Hi there. What's so difficult about learning German? Well, as someone who teaches this language for a long time, I can tell you, because I see my poor students struggle all the time. Well, it's not that bad once you see a few things from another point of view. It might be a little bit easier for you. Most of the people say when they read German or when they see written German that it's so crazy to see all that long words. This is just because we can make one word out of a lot of words. So we can make, for example, Geschirrspülmaschine. Geschirrspülmaschine. It's like machine to wash plates. We just take all the words like Geschirr is plates, Spül is wash, and Maschine is machine. So we just put it together and we make one word of it. So that's one of the reasons why you see very long words. Yeah. Then there is the three articles. Der, die, das. Yes, I know that's the nightmare of a lot of people, but actually there is one solution. It's just when you start learning German, you have to learn the words with the article. Instead of learning Hund, you learn der Hund, dog. Yeah? Or dog, der Hund. Katze, the cat, no, die Katze, the cat. When you always learn the words with the article, der, die, das will not be such a horrible struggle to you. That's a very, very important thing. Yes. And the big secret of German language is that when you later struggle with accusative and dative, yes, the other nightmare of everyone, then this is because you don't know der, die, das. Because when you know the genders of the words, when you learned your vocabulary with the articles, then it's easy to know how to make accusative and dative. The most difficult thing is when you don't know the gender, you don't know which form you have to use, because you don't know whether you need the feminine or the masculine form. So, big advice for everyone who's starting to study German: learn the vocabulary with the articles. For my students, I always do that. After the class, I send the vocabulary list, I write it for them. I write all the German vocabulary nouns with the German article, and then behind it, I write the meaning. I don't write the word without the article because I want them to learn from scratch on the three different genders. It's the only way. When your language, like Russian or Arabic has articles. Russian has no articles. A lot of Slavic languages have no articles. Spanish and Italian and French have like only 2 articles. So the only way to get into your brain 3 different genders when it's not in your mother language is learning the vocabulary with the articles. Well, this is one thing. The next thing is you should learn from the beginning the plural of all the nouns, because German is a beautiful language, but it has not a conform plural. It's like it can be die Maus, die Mäuse, das Haus, die Häuser. So we have mouse and house. They nearly sound the same, but they are not the same gender and they don't have the same plural. So Maus, die Maus, the mouse, becomes die Mäuse, und das Haus, the house, becomes die Häuser. So it has a different gender, different plural. So it makes absolutely sense to do your vocabulary lists like this. You write das Haus, die Häuser, English meaning, or your mother language, the house, the houses. Die Maus, die Mäuse, the mouse, the mice. Then you have a very, very effective way of learning your German vocabulary, because you have like three things in one learning process. You have the article, so you know the gender, you have the word and the meaning, and you have the plural. So big, great advice for all the German students, the new German students. When you already lived 20 years in Germany and now afterwards you have to learn the articles, it's really, really annoying. When someone studied German without studying the genders, it is possible even to speak German without using articles. Some of the foreign people who have like mother languages where are no articles do that. It is possible. Yeah, and we can understand you, but it's not good German, and it's not the idea. And when you want to pass a test, or when you really have to write or somehow do it correctly, it is a lot easier to learn all these three things from the beginning than to learn just like understanding German, speaking German, without the correct forms and later correcting it. Yeah, so this is a good thing for someone studying from scratch, making your vocabulary lists like that. Next thing, the pronunciation. It is difficult, I know, depending from which country you come. The pronunciation is hard, I know, because there's a lot of consonants, one after the other. Then we have some vowels that sound different. I made a video about the different sounds of vowels. That's very good if you want to work on your pronunciation. Yeah, and the other thing is, some of my students, or actually a lot of my students, live in Berlin. And I think Berlin is the worst place to learn German. I think you would be better off in Mallorca or on some beach in Spain. You would probably find more people who talk to you in German than in Berlin, because in Berlin everyone speaks English. So if you are in the situation that you have like the typical student of Eileen is usually a software engineer who works in English, lives somewhere in Germany, is married to someone who speaks his mother language, and his friends are basically expats speaking English. If this is your situation and you live like 7 years in Germany and you didn't make it to learn German, that's not your fault. It's just your life. Yeah, because you might be on German ground, but you practically don't hear any German in your normal life, and you have to substitute that. So that's really, really important if you want to learn, and you should, because even though you can survive speaking English in every big German city, it's not the same. You will feel more home, you will feel more welcome, and you will make more contact with natives if you speak German. You will be invited to more interesting things. You will have the possibility to also make contact with the older people, or people take you to their parents to meet their families. That's all something where it's good to have a knowledge of the native language, of the language of the people that live in that country. But I really know the problem, and it's surprising again and again that in big German cities people really struggle to find someone to talk German, someone who is not hyper fluent in English and really takes the time to say, okay, we are friends now and let's talk in German because this is good for you, not just chat in English because this is fast. Yeah. All right. If you are in the situation that you have a job in English, are married to someone who speaks your English or your mother language, and struggle getting in contact with natives and finding people to talk German, there is a few things I would recommend. One is to watch a German TV series, and a really simple one, not something crazy from Netflix or something like, not a work of art of German television. Watch something like Sturm der Liebe. This is on ARD. at 3 o'clock every day during the week, or Rote Rosen, that's at 2 o'clock on ARD every day. This is like a simple telenovela, but you can watch it every day. And it will, when you do it every day, it's not the most interesting story. It's just love and affairs and drama and money and telenovela stuff. Yeah? But if you watch it every day, you get to know the actors, you get to know the voices and the dialects, and you somehow get into the topics. So you can follow by listening always to the same topics, to the same problems, to the same people speaking about more or less the same stuff. And this is substituting something like having a German-speaking social life. It's not the best version. Better would be making the German friends and talking to the natives just right now. But if you can't do that, this is a good way of hearing German, and it's better than watching just movies, because the movie is over after 90 minutes, and then the next movie, there are new people, new topics, and it will be more difficult to dive in and to get the voices, the expressions, the accents, the dialects. Yeah, if you listen to the same person every day, even if it's a soap opera star, yeah, this has the effect because you get familiar how this person talks. And that's why when you maybe 1 week watch the soap, at the end of the week you will understand that person somehow, like 70%. And that's making the German in your brain more active. When I studied Spanish, because I was living there, I had an apartment, but I was traveling like Germany, Spain, like this. I always watched the Spanish telenovela like 1 week before I would go there, so that my brain already starts to work in Spanish. Right now, I'm so fluent in German and Spanish that I just switch. But 5 years ago, it was difficult to switch, so I used the television thing, and I'm not a television fan, actually. I only use it for language learning. But for students in this particular situation that kind of happens a lot in big German cities, especially to people who work with computers, who have no customer contact in Germany or something like that. People who really have on one hand, the luck that the job is available in English. That's a good thing because you can start working. It can be a very good job, but it's not good for learning German. So for these people, I recommend the soap opera thing. Sometimes solutions are easy. Another thing that you should do when you survive the soap opera, when you have the first success moments, you think, oh wow, I really know what this telenovela is about. I know the people, I know what's their problems, I know what they're talking about, I understand them. Yeah, when you have this feeling, then join a local sports group in German. Something you do. If it were football or yoga or a dance class, whatever, join some activity in German language. Just once a week for an hour. This is the next step, because once you join such a class, it's a decision from yourself to not attend the, of course, existing English class. I'm sure whole Berlin's full of English yoga classes or English football teams or whatever. You can, of course, find all that. But it's a very, very smart decision to risk yourself and to say, well, I'm gonna do that in German, because if you know yoga, you know yoga. And actually you will see the people doing the stuff and you can imitate it. And there is nothing bad happening if you maybe don't know how downward facing dog is said in German. Herabschauender Hund. Yes, so that's the next thing. When you manage the telenovela, you should sacrifice 1 or 2 hours of your week for a real-life activity in German. Some class, or if you do ceramics, or if you go to a painting class, just risk going to the painting class and don't understand what they say. Yeah? The thing about activities, or creative activities, or sport activities, the good thing about it is that it distracts you. It takes away your attention from the language. So finally, you can, when you take art classes or painting or ceramics, you can see what the people do. And even if you don't know the words they say, you kind of will be able to see what you should do. And while you hear what they're saying, you subconsciously learn the words. And this is a lot more fun and a lot more effective than sitting down with a list about artwork or a list about yoga classes and learning all the words before going to the yoga class. So whatever topic you want to increase your German vocabulary, it is better to try an activity than just to learn a list, because the list will be kind of remembered. But action and pictures, as seeing and acting, does kind of tattoo the word in your brain. As it really fixes it in your brain. Yeah, my best Spanish vocabulary I learned in dance classes or in different situations where I had to do activities in Spanish, because just in my city in Spain, in Sevilla, there is not so much English classes. There is no belly dance class in English. There is no horse riding instructor who knows English. So I had to do that things in Spanish, and I had to risk that I don't know what to do with a horse when he says something strange to me. But, you know, I managed, and I will never, ever forget the horse vocabulary. Yeah, so even never, ever, because I learned it in a practical way. Yes, so this is a few thoughts about language learning, not only German, other languages too. And I hope that encourages you. I try to make this video for all levels and for different situations. So from scratch on, please learn the articles and the plurals. That's really good for you when you already live a long time in Germany, but you still can't speak, you still don't feel well communicating. So do that things. First, the telenovela. When you manage the telenovela, go to a German activity, and then there is also the possibility to hire a coach like me. These are a few advice for everyone to improve their language learning. And with that, I say goodbye and see you in the next tutorial.